What up, K-Rugs, the Sober Dog, coming at you. Today, just going to talk a little bit about staying sober during COVID, because it's still not easy. This is still going on. All right, that's what we're going to get into. Coronavirus hit March, February, March, whatever. Everything's shut down. I'm in New York, some of the hardest hit places and strictest rules and whatever. And there's still a ton of stuff closed. The gyms, which drives me nuts, open the damn gyms. You got 500 people at Walmart touching everything, coughing, sneezing, but you can't let 100 people in the gyms clean up after themselves. Anyway, so meetings, there's all these rules about meetings. We just were able about a month ago to open meetings back up, AA, NA, 12-step. That sucked. And I don't care what anybody says, I will do this always. We were doing in-person meetings right from day one. We started outside meetings and meetings in people's basements and stuff. To me, my chances of dying from relapse are substantially higher, magnitudes higher than dying from COVID. So I am not risking that. I was at in-person meetings right away, outside meetings, and I wasn't the only one. Hundreds of us. Even older people, 70, 80-year-old people were saying, I need my meetings. They keep me sober. If I relapse, I'm done. So we were doing whatever we had to do to stay sober, and I'll continue to do that. If they shut everything down again tomorrow, we're having in-person meetings, whether they like it or not, So it's hard and it sucks, and not everyone's got that luxury, that ability, or lives in a town or a place where there's such an active recovery community. Rehab shut down, outpatients, even a lot of outpatients and inpatient are doing stuff on Zoom right now. I don't know about you guys, but I've done a lot of Zoom meetings. It is so hard to pay attention on Zoom. You're at your house, you got the TV, the dog, the kids, whoever you live with. You're on your computer and you're just looking at it like this. And if you want to sit there and scroll through Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Google this, you could do whatever you want and nobody would notice because you're just looking at it like this, hitting the mouse. So you can get so distracted so easy. I can't imagine if I was at an outpatient on Zoom, I wouldn't be paying attention to anything. I'd be off, doing whatever the heck I want to do in my mind. In my experience, basically, for every 4 Zoom meetings I did online, equaled about 1 real meeting to me. When I go to one meeting, it's like my medication for the day. It puts my sobriety in perspective. It reminds me I'm an addict. It reminds me of how great the recovery community is. There's people there talking to me. If I got any problem, I could bring it up. It just it recharges my batteries for the day. I needed like 4 Zoom meetings to accomplish that. And I'm sure part of that is me not being 100% involved and focused, but I noticed that with everybody on those. People are folding their laundry on the treadmill, kids in the background, cats and dogs running around. It's just so hard. Then like gym, working out's a huge part of my recovery. I've talked about that. Not having that to go to sucks. There's so many things that are really like stacked against people trying to stay sober during this COVID thing. You might have lost your job. Your hours might have got cut. Finances are a big deal. Maybe you got family getting sick, or you're getting sick from the actual virus. All this extra stress added on that we go to all these lengths to avoid in recovery or work. Especially early sobriety, and then it all happens now, and it's like, okay, all this stress thrown on you with the virus and work and finances. And by the way, we're taking away your stress relief, your in-person meetings and your rehabs. What? How the hell am I? No. So that drove me nuts and pissed me off, but you got to do whatever you got to do. If I needed 4 meetings a day, that's what I did on Zoom. If we did meetings, like I said, in people's basement, I know the government's not happy about that, but I don't care what they say or what they think about it, because every person there wanted to and needed it. And that's our own choice and our own risk. And, we do what we had to do to stay sober, but we're at that point now. It's not even close to completely open back up. Still can't go work out. Still can't, a lot of in-person meetings are closed. Even the ones that are open, there's a lot of rules, which whatever, is fine, keep people healthy, but a lot of people aren't going, so they're very small. I went to a couple where I was the only one there, so obviously there's no meeting if no one else shows up. Part of the benefit of meetings or outpatient or whatever is the human connection, sitting in a room talking to other people struggling. Without that, if it's only 3 of you in a room sitting 15 feet apart, that connection's not there. That's a huge part of recovery, is bonding and connecting with somebody else who's either gone through it before or going through it right now, to talk about it and get through it and figure out what helped and what didn't. Johan Hari's video, I'll put a card up, link to it, but he says the opposite of addiction is connection. That is so true. Anybody who's got a good positive recovery program will most likely tell you something along the lines of they are deeply involved in some community, church community, 12-step community, recovery fitness community, volunteer community. Connecting is such a big key to a happy, healthy, long-term sobriety. Most addicts and alcoholics have a better chance of dying of our disease of addiction than COVID, so I'm willing to take a lot of risks to keep my sobriety in check. All right, K. Ruggs, the Sober Dog, I'm out. Hit that like, that subscribe if you like Sober Dog's content. See ya.